Hello YouTube, we're on the real programming channel about HTML for beginners. And I'm its host, my name is Andrei, I greet you, welcome on my channel. This is our lesson 94. We will talk about getting ready to build the bin meshing form. Okay. Before we start building that form, take a look inside the chapter 14 starbuzz folder and you'll find the file form.html. Open it and have a look around. All this file has in it are the HTML basics. This is our code. The form going to go here. All we got so far is a heading identifying the page along with instructions. For now, we're going to build these forms without all the style we've been using on starbuzz site. That way we can concentrate on the form HTML. We'll add the style in later. Figuring out what goes in the form element, it's time to add your very first form HTML. The first thing you have to know when creating a form element is the URL of the server script that is going to process your form data. We've already taken care of that. For you, you'll find the server script that processes starbuzz orders here. Okay, these URLs points to the Starbuzz Coffee website and to the process order PHP server script that's on the server there. This server script already knows how to take orders from the form we're going to build. Adding the form element. Once you know the URL of the server script that will process your form, all you need to do is plug it into the action attribute of your form element. Like this, follow along and type the changes into your HTML. Okay, here is the form element. The action attribute contains the URL of the server script. Go ahead and add the form closing tag too. And remember, we're using the post method to deliver the form data to the server. More on this later. So far so good, but an empty form element isn't going to get you very far. Looking back at the sketch of the form, there is a lot there to add, but we are going to start simple and get the ship to part of the form done first, which consists of a bunch of text inputs and a number input. You already know a little about text inputs, but let's take a closer look. Here is what the text inputs for the starbuzz form look like. Here the type is text because it's going to be a text input control. We use the input element for a few different controls. The type attribute determines what kind of control it is. We got one text input for each input area in the form: name, addresses, city, state, zip and phone. Here the type is tel because we're expecting a telephone number for the value. The name attribute acts as an identifier for the date the user types in. Notice how each one is set to a different value. Let's see how this works. How form elements names works. Here is the thing to know about the name attribute. It acts as a glue between your form and the server script that processes it. Here is how this works. Each input control in your form has a name attribute. When you type the elements for a form into your HTML file, you give them unique names. You saw this with the text and tel inputs. Notice here we've got an element whose name is name, which is perfectly fine. Each input element gets its own name. Okay, when you submit a form, the browser packages up all the data using the unique names. Say you type your name, addresses, city, state, zip and phone into the form and click submit. The browser takes each of these pieces of data and labels them with your unique name attributes values. The browser would then send the name and the values to the server like this. Okay. The unique names for each form element. Each unique name gets a value from the date you type into the form. What the browser packages up for the server scripts needs the form data to be labeled so it can tell what is what. What you enter into the form? There are no dumb questions. What's the difference between a text input and a text area? You want to use a text input for entering text that is just a single line, like a name or zip code, and a text area for longer multi-line text. Can I make the submit button say something other than submit? Yes, just put a value attribute in the element and give it a value like order now. You can also use the value attribute of text input to give that input some default text. Is there a limit to how much text I can type into a text input or a text area? Browsers do place a limit on the amount of text you can type into either a text input or a text area. However, it's usually way more than you would ever need to type. If you'd like to limit how much your users can type into a text input, you can use the max length attribute and set it to specific numbers of characters. For example, max length is equal 100-fold would limit users to typing at most 100 characters. However, for a text area, there is no way with HTML to limit how much your users can type. The tel, email and URL look just like text inputs. Is there really a difference? The tel, email and URL type inputs all send text strings to the server script. So, in their way, they are basically the same as a text type input. However, because the browser knows that the type is tel, for instance, it can be a bit smarter about the user interface it provides to user. So on some mobile browsers, the browser may display a numeric font keyboard. Okay, I still don't get how the names get matched up with the form date. Okay, you know each form element that has a unique name, and you also know that the element has corresponding value. When you click the submit button, the browser takes all the names along with their values and sends them to the server. For instance, when you type this zip code 950 into a text input element with the name zip, the browser sends zip is equal 950 to the server when the form is submitted. How does the server script know the names I'm going to use in my form? In other words, how do I pick the names for my form elements? Good question. It really works the other way around. You have to know what form names your server script is expecting and write your form to match it. If you're using a server script that someone else wrote, he'll have to tell you what names to use or provide that information in the documentation for the scripts. A good place to start is to ask your hosting company for help. Why doesn't the option element have a name attribute? Every other form element does. Good catch. All option elements are actually part of the menu that is created by select element. So we only really need one name for the entire menu, and that is already specified in the select element. In the words, option elements don't need a name attribute because the select has already specified name for the entire menu. Keep in mind that when the form is submitted, only the value of the current selected option is sent along with the name to the server. Didn't you say that the name for each form element needs to be unique? But the radio input elements all have the same name. Right, radio buttons come as set. Think about it. If you push one button in, the rest pop it out. So, for the browser to know, the radio buttons belong together. You see the same name Say you have a set of radio buttons named color with values of red, green and blue. There's all colors and only one color can be selected at the time, as a single name for the same set makes sense. Okay. What about checkboxes? Do you work like radio buttons? Yes, the only difference is that you're allowed to select more than one choice with the checkbox. When the browser sends for the data to the server, it combines all the checkbox value into one value and sends them along with the checkbox name. So, say you had spice checkboxes for salt, pepper and garlic and you checked them all. Then the browsers would send peas, salt and peppers and garlic to the server. Geez, do I really need to know all this stuff about how data gets to the server? All you need to know is named in the types of the forms elements your server script is expecting. Beyond that, knowing how it all works sometimes helps, but no, you don't need to know all the gore behind the scenes, details of what is being sent to the server. Okay, back to getting those input elements into your HTML. We will talk about this in the next lesson, and this concludes our lesson 94. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel, please put likes, share with friends, comment, eat bananas, eat fruit, drink more water, do exercise every evening. Remember this, please. That's all, thank you, I like you, bye.